You talked about Rogan earlier, right? I want to read the story. Can you pull up this Tech Insider article that just came out, which is absolutely, and I'm going to give you a prediction. I'm going to make a prediction here with this on what I believe is going to happen next. Do you know which one I'm talking about? I emailed it to you. If you want to pull it up, you should have it somewhere there. So folks, a lot of people are not happy with this guy named Joe Rogan. Can you do me a favor and go to the actual article instead of just having it that way? Go to the actual article. It says, put Spotify, misinformation, scientists, police, those words, it should come up. Doctors call on Spotify to... Okay, there you go. Here we go. We'll read this. Doctors call, make it a little bit bigger so I can read it. Doctors call on Spotify to stop COVID misinformation, citing Joe Rogan podcast. The platform is helping damage public trust and scientific research, according to a letter signed by hundreds of medical professionals. I believe the number is 270, by the way, that signed this. Go a little bit higher.
Medical professionals.
More than 250 medical professionals have signed an open letter calling on Spotify to clamp down on COVID misinformation spreading on its platform, especially calling out the podcast of comedian Joe Rogan. The letter took issue with December 31st episode of Joe Rogan Experience podcast, when he featured Dr. Robert Malone, an immunologist who claims to have created the mRNA technology, but is now vocal skeptic of the vaccine that use it, by allowing the propagation of false and societally harmful assertions. Spotify is enabling its hosted media to damage public trust in scientific research and sow doubt in the credibility, data-driven guidance offered by medical professionals. Great words, by the way. The way they worded that sounds very legit. This is not a scientific or medical concern. It's a sociological issue of devastating proportions, and Spotify's response for alarms. The letter was first reported Wednesday by Rolling Stone. Okay, so now watch this. So now they're attacking who? They're going after Rogan, but they're really going after who? This is not
Spotify.
Rogan. They're going after Spotify. Okay, so who runs Spotify? Who is the CEO of Spotify? Who is the CEO of Spotify? Pull up CEO of the Spotify, okay, and you'll see who he is.
Daniel Ek.
Yeah, and what he wants to do, okay? What he wants to do.
Swedish billionaire,
Yeah,
by the way.
Swedish billionaire. Here, he's 38 years old.
Young dude,
And he
wow.
wants to win that game. I think Michelle Obama's with them, podcast. Kardashians, I believe, is with them, podcast. They're going after all the big names, right?
Where's Obama and
Yeah, I know.
Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah. Here's all I'm saying to you. Watch in the next week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, if they go after this guy. Because now he's a target. Okay, watch if something comes out with a Me Too, drug habit. Watch if something comes out with his personal life. You know, he lost Super Mario Brothers when he was 18. Watch something comes out.
Right.
He broke up with his first girlfriend. He likes older women. He likes whatever. He's into certain kinky things. Something's going to come out about this guy in the next
do you
few
think there's
days.
going to be some hit pieces?
Are you think about it this way.
For sure.
Who is, like that whole thing with Getter, right? The Getter Twitter, and Joe Rogan called him out. I think he said one of the investors in Getter is what, a Chinese something? I don't know if you saw that or not, that he called it out.
I did.
Even Rogan, who got them 1 million people, he still slammed them. And he said, Joe Rogan slammed social media platform Getter, call it, what does he call it? Fugazi, just days after joining. Fuckery, yeah, okay. Joe, and Fugazi, just days after joining, go a little lower. Okay, so anyway, so Joe Rogan calls out this new app because the investors in the back end are Chinese. But right now, Silicon Valley, think about how many people, like our most viewed interview on Spotify is Dr. Malone's interview.
Right.
Our most viewed interview ever on Spotify is Dr. Malone because everybody says, where can I get it?
Spotify.
You can go to Spotify. We don't have a Rumble account. Rumble account CEO reached out to me. We're going to have a conversation, see what happens there. But I'm not on Rumble. So point being, if this happens, and they're now fearing what Rogan's doing, if Daniel stays strong, as big as Spotify is, they're about to blow up even more. If he stays strong. They're about to blow up even
100%. But
more.
see, this should terrify everyone, what's going on. I mean, and you know, I saw that Joe Rogan was a target, so I started listening to him because I was like, what is this guy doing over there that's getting so much heat? People are terrified. He's just having people on and asking questions. He's just having guests. They're coming on,
Yeah.
doctors. He's asking questions. He's not telling everyone, don't get vaccinated. I have never heard him say that. He's saying, look, I know people who had bad side effects. I know people who didn't. What's going on here with the data? You know, a video was released the other day that I had missed from December where he's talking about how pharmaceutical companies, they're the only ones that retain their raw data. This is important information. And you have Americans left, right, and center right now who are tired of establishment media. Because, yeah, you know, you showed that article and it says, oh, all these medical professionals hate this. Who are you talking about? Are you talking about big pharma allies that are threatened by someone who's actually asking questions to people like Malone? Why are you so threatened by Malone? You have 1 million doctors sitting on cable news all day long that for the last year and a half have been spouting lies and nonsense that have we've watched every single one of those things be disproven. Most of them have never apologized for anything. But you can't listen to Dr. Malone on Joe Rogan give his opinion and talk about what he sees happening. Why is there a shutdown? So people should be absolutely horrified by what's happening. And you know what? Go and listen. Go get on Joe Rogan's show and just listen. Because the same thing happened to me. You know, I was shut down for misinformation on network television. I then wrote an article. I don't know if you know this, but the Daily Mail had approached me.
I saw that. They took it back or something like
They
that.
pulled it down
Yeah,
in the
I
middle
saw
of the
that.
night. They
pulled
asked
it
me.
down.
Daily Mail.
The Daily Mail
Yeah.
asked me to write an article about my stand on vaccines. I wrote the article. I submitted it. It was edited. Like, I agreed to the edits. They published it. In the middle of the night, it disappears with no explanation. This is happening to people in every aspect of media. There is a shutdown of people just asking questions. So, you know, and nothing I said, I then posted screenshots and I was like, look at what I'm saying. I'm telling people to make their own informed decision based on their own risk benefit analysis and their own conversations with their doctors. That's somehow threatening to Big Pharma. And of course it is, because Big Pharma is coming out with one size fits all approaches, and one size fits all never works in medicine. It never works in health. Anyone who's had any health obstacle in their life knows that one size fits all is garbage. So be scared. You know, when we were talking about the election, I remember people talking about, you know, a stolen election. And I didn't buy into that because they were talking about voting machines. And I was having conversations, I was on Fox News at the time, with GOP officials on the ground who were telling me, this is not true. You know, we are Republicans. We are making sure we are counting these. We are manually counting them after the stuff, you know, is tallied up in the machines. This is not happening. And I say now, if you're going to talk about an election and collusion, what you really should have been talking about is this stuff. There was collusion going on between big tech. There was collusion going on between politicians and big pharma. All of that was happening. All of that was happening. That was what led to the election changing the way that it did. It wasn't about COVID. It was about all of that stuff. It was about manipulation of data. It was about manipulation of information. It was about CNN's tracker that was up, the death tracker, and now suddenly is not there. This was all targeted. So if you're a free speech advocate, I don't care. I don't give a damn if you're a Republican, a Democrat, a Libertarian. If you are a free speech advocate and you just want people to be able to have their voices heard, to have their questions answered, then you should be appalled by what is going on right now with the shutdown of voices. And Joe Rogan is an example of that. And the only reason he's getting attention is because he has a ton of viewers. And they're like, oh my God, this may convince people to realize that they should have ownership of their own lives and their own health. That's all it's about.
His
That's
viewership
it.
puts MSNBC, CNN, Fox News, Hannity, Tucker to shame. I mean, we had the stats up last
Right.
podcast.
And I don't agree with
defending
him on
close.
everything. I mean, Joe
But
Rogan
he is,
and I
as
don't.
Pat says, the most necessary voice in America right
Yeah,
now.
he's the
Right
most
he
now,
can't be
he
bought.
is.
in
And
America.
so
There's
is
no question
every
about it.
individual podcast. And
Yeah.
that's, people are like getting away from corporate media and they're listening to people like you. They're listening to people like Rogan. They're listening to all of these people who are just telling you what they think and having guests on and asking hard questions. That's all it's about. But science is meant to be questioned. And if you are opposing that, then you're endorsing propaganda.
But
Because
Jed,
that's it.
you know the problem with Big Pharma is that there's no money in natural immunity.
It can't be monetized. I said that for a
So
very long
like
time.
exactly.
That's
So
right.
if there's no money in it, why the hell would they just encourage that?
Yeah,
There's a lot of
over
money in
100
vaccines
there's
and
over-
masks and everything.
There's over 140 studies now that confirm natural immunity. Natural immunity is not new. This is not a new concept. You know, when I was pregnant and I went to the doctor and she tested me, you know, things like measles and chicken pox can be dangerous if you get them when you're pregnant. So she said, we're going to test you. We're going to test you for antibodies. Even though I had been vaccinated for measles when I was young, I actually had been exposed to chickenpox. I never got the rash, but I had the antibodies. She tested me. She said, okay, you have the antibodies and don't worry. She didn't say, oh, you have the antibodies. Let's give you a booster. This is not new to scientists, and there's a lot of doctors around the country that have been outraged. These are doctors who are vaccinated. The guy who wrote my medical exemption is vaccinated himself. These are not anti-vax. It's not a group of anti-vaxxers. These are doctors who are saying,
Dr. Malone is vaccinated.
yes, he's
He took
vaccinated,
Moderna.
and he's been
he got
labeled
COVID. He
as-
thought he was going to die.
he's been labeled as anti-vax in virtually every headline
Yeah.
that's come out. That is absurd.
You know,
Even though he took
He
the
took the
vax.
vaccine.
So if you enjoyed this little short segment from the podcast that we did, here's another short segment to watch. Or if you want to see the entire podcast, click over here. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.